leveling up, I feel like it doesn't have a timeline.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't have an end also.
it doesn't have an end. It doesn't have a timeline. Like you can't say, okay, I'm 40, I don't need to level up. No, you can you can start today.
And people need to understand that it is not just a overnight success.
Obviously not.
Hi lovely people, welcome to another episode of TNT, and today we're having a conversation of leveling up. How do you build your capacity in your life? Guys, you know, in life we have seen people who do it differently, who have done it differently. So share with us your stories of how you have leveled up from point A to point B. And Tabby, when you talk about that, you know, when you're having this conversation and we are discussing how we're going to have this, so for you as Tabby, how have you leveled up in your life?
Thank you so much, T, for that question. And I feel like for me right now, my leveling up is mostly spiritual. If you know my story, it's crazy. I think either abandoned God for like a while, and I wasn't really in that space to, you know, to pray, even to just have anything, you know, spiritual. Like I was out of the vicinity for a period of time, and. Things happened, and when I decided to actually come back to the things of God and start working with God, obviously I realized I needed people to hold my hand, and thank God I had so many people who were willing to help me grow in that area, and so far so good. You know, I've had mentors, I had people praying for me, I've learned so much. And really, I actually appreciate this conversation because I know that many people are trying to level up, and I feel like the problem is people are leveling up at the pace of other people. You know, we know that life is in stages and in phases, you know, and the season as a specific season, or maybe a season of your life, is not it's not the same as someone else's season, you know. Yeah. So in this season, you could be going through something, or maybe you're winning in this season, right? And there's someone else who isn't actually. Maybe nothing is happening in their life. Maybe they're struggling and all. So I think it's wrong, and it's not fruitful to level up in comparison to another person's. You can be inspired. You can be inspired by someone else's journey. You can learn. You can ask questions, but you don't have to move at another person's pace. You know, you don't have to compete. Okay, of course there are competitions that are healthy. I don't know. Are there?
There are competitions.
They're healthy competitions. Yeah, but if I'm competing with you this is a different season of my life, but I want to compete with you at a different season of your life. You see how that is actually ignorance, and it leads to much frustration than it does good. So I'll say, obviously, we all want to level up. I feel like majority have the desire to level up. I can't say we all want to, because the people who maybe are comfortable in the positions that they are. Yeah. But majority that want to level up, actually, I feel like there is no there. Like when you get to a certain, you will desire to be at a place. Maybe you see someone that you admire, and you're like, man, I'd like to be, you know, the best presenter, or maybe a well-known presenter in Kenya. But the moment you get there, you realize, okay, there's still more. Okay,
there's still work to be done.
There's still work to be done within yourself, and also there's more to be desired.
When you say about level up, I am taken back to where we are currently. And we're in the information world, and it's more of social media, what I see. You know, more of, I see a person who's driving who has this, who has it all. And you're like, that life, I would love that life.
Yeah, I'd love to have that life,
You know, living their own lives, driving their own cars, having their own. They are set for life, you know, and you look at it, you're like, okay, but we don't see the work behind it. You don't see that people, to get where they have gotten, they had to do some work, they had to put something, they had to sacrifice it. For me, basically, when, you know, what I have done in my career path, it was more of production. And when I was doing production and learning about presenting and looking at where I want to be in life, there are people who I looked up to. And you see, most of the times, before now we reached to social media, it was more of the TV. You see,
man, that was
you see the 9 p.m. and you look at, you know, the presenter, when you look at Lillian Mully and you're like, oh, I want to be like Lillian Mully. She has it. When she comes in and says and presents about the news item, you're like, okay, I see myself in her, you know. Or when I see Victoria Rubaderi, you're like, okay, she has the stage, she has the posture, she's good, she's presenting well, she's calm, even when she's doing the news item, when she's hosting or doing her interviews, you're like, okay, this is somebody I will, you know, inspire to be. And when you see that, you're like, okay, can I work towards that? Because we forget that they had to work they had to sit down before now reaching the process of it. They had to sit down before now the story airs. There's some work that has been put through for them now to present. You know, they have to read wide. They have to know how to pronounce.
They have to develop their confidence.
They have to develop their confidence before they come and talk to you. You know, and we tend to not look at the process behind it. We tend to look at
we just want the result. We just want to get there.
You want to get there. We want to be like, I've made it. But I would say for us, or for me personally, I've not reached that, but I'm aiming at that. And having when I was starting out, from my experience, I had a mentor who was like, oh, you know what, you have the confidence, we just need you to now get that confidence and speak it. You know, you own it, own that. And when you hear people say that about you, you get to, okay, so
I need to just work on 1, 2, 3.
So it is more of the steps that have been put there. And people need to understand that it is not just a overnight success.
Obviously not.
It's not
but
level up from
there are
point.
People who actually there are people who prefer the overnight success, and that's why maybe they go for unconventional ways to get there.
When you say unconventional way, which are they two? Because you know, we are different, Tabby. Our environments are different. I might have grown up to the unconventional way that you
being conventional. You can look at that and maybe be like, okay, this is how I know things done because that's what you've seen.
Your environment.
Like normally, you see, a society has a set of morality, like has a set of morals that are put in place to govern how people are supposed to move in life. You see, so when you go against what is already said, you know, you want to take shortcuts to get there. You know, there are people, you know, sleeping with their bosses. I hate to say that. It doesn't sound good in my mouth, but there are people doing all that stuff. There are people bootlicking. You know, you just want to be pleasing people and running around like you're crazy, just to be seen that at least you're doing something, or just to be seen for a certain position. You know, so all these things are happening. But I believe that there are conventional ways. I believe that it is possible to get to a place where you desire to get to without going low. You know, without failing your dignity or something like that, without selling your dignity, without you know, letting yourself down. Because I also believe that when you get something through a shortcut, you need the same shortcut to maintain it. So if I did something with my boss to get a position, then that position has to be maintained in the same way, right?
Same.
And it gets to a point whereby obviously you'll be tired, or maybe people will know, and maybe people will start talking against you on that. So I feel like it's not worth it, you see. So you can learn, you can develop your skills, you can be patient, because also patience is something that is lacking even in this society today.
Yeah.
People don't want to, you know, be patient to the process. People just want it. You know, I want to be what's happening. Like people, you know, people look at people who are happening, you know, in this season.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the people you mentioned, they're happening right now.
Yeah.
Like they're the it, you know, that was trending. But people forget, just as you say, that even behind all this happening, there is a process that these people had to go through. You see, they had to learn. You know, they maybe they had mentors. They had to grow in their boldness on how to present or whatever they're doing. They had to even, you know, get more knowledge. You know, learn, relearn, and unlearn. Sometimes you need to unlearn. Sometimes it's not even about even learning. It's about also restructuring your mind in a way that it can accommodate you in the level that you're praying for. Because they say that every new level has new demons, right? Every new level has new demons. So
and in a nutshell, new demons, new challenges. New challenges. Because when you look at it, even if, you know, you're going to that level where you think that is the end, you know,
and you realize it isn't.
You're still on this earth,
so it isn't. And
so there are new challenges that you have to go through. But are you ready for that?
Are you ready? And that's now where we're talking about building capacity. Because if you are not ready for the level that you are going to, then it's going to be stressful even being there. You know, because if you couldn't handle like basic challenges, you know, now you want to go and handle like very extreme challenges up there that you are not even qualified for. And that's why we're saying that taking shortcuts to life is not wise. Because if you're not able to handle things even like that are below the level that you are going to, then you are just going to be a nuisance. You're just going to be a problem. You're going to be complaining and whining and crying all the time. You're going to underperform. You know, you're going to feel like maybe people hate you and people are against you and all these things, you know, just because of the pressure. And the same thing, I feel like even the pressures that we feel in life, it's not like we feel pressure sometimes is just it's just an indication that you need to stretch. It's like a stretch. It's like a challenge. It's something that has come to poke you so that you acquire more knowledge on the same things. You know, you can be on a certain level whereby you are feeling like, hey man, this is too much. But maybe that's a call for you to work on the skill that is needed on that level. It's not always like, okay, this environment is toxic, Nini, and maybe your boss has told you to maybe do 1, 2, 3, and you feel like, okay, why is it always me? Why is it always me? Obviously, there are places that are toxic. We can't disregard that. We can't dispute that. But sometimes all these stresses, all these complaints and murmuring that people have, it's just because they don't have the skill and they don't have the capacity for that level. You see, now they start feeling it as if it's like pressure, you know. They start feeling like it's weighty, it's heavy, you know. There's so much to be done, but maybe you needed to work on your speed on the previous levels of your life. You get?
And also, I tend to have this example. When you're talking about that, I remember there's an example that people didn't in the celebrity world. You look at her life, that is Ciara. Before, you know, she got married to Russell, it was more of she was dating, you know, the rapper, and people are like, why are you with this man? There's no future. He has so many.
Look at her right now. Look at her now.
It's basically she had to be in a place whereby she's looking at her life. This is what I wanted, but I'm not getting it here. What can I do for me to attract, you know, the people that I want in my life? These people that this is my goal. Like I want to be married. I want to have a family. I want to live with a person who actually values me. So when you look at that, for her to get married
to a good man,
to a good man who actually values her, you know, who actually appreciates who she is, and doesn't, you know, ajamfunga ile like, oh, you don't go here, don't do this. It is more
she's still winning even in that marriage.
Exactly. Like, so even for us to level up, when you see that, you're like, okay, what do I need to attract?
What do I need to do to attract what I desire?
What I desire, or the people around me. Because at the end of the day, what we might say, that you might grow up with people and you grow up with thinking, oh, okay, we'll be friends forever. But those friends forever.
I mean, you see, you mentioned that, and I feel like sometimes we outgrow some friendships. I think we need to say that there are friendships that could be there for a moment, but now as you continue to grow, you stop making sense to them. And I think that those are some of the challenges that we experience as we level up. Because leveling up, it's an all-round thing. It's like an all-round, it's emotional leveling up. It's like just physically,
yes.
You're supposed to level up. Spiritually, you're supposed to level up in all these ways.
Yeah.
So you see, so if maybe you are developing, you are developing and growing as a person. You see, and maybe the things that you used to entertain, and even the things that used to interest you, while you had not developed, they start just losing interest. You start losing interest on those things. You see, maybe the conversation that you used to have with your friends, and maybe the things that you used to do together, they stop interesting you. So it just means that you have stretched and you have overgrown that friendship, and it's okay.
Yeah,
okay. Sometimes we feel, in the leveling up, and I think now let's talk about these challenges. I mean, just outgrowing things and just moving on guiltless. You're guiltless because you'll be like,
are you sure, Tabby, we don't guilt trip you?
What I feel is like, if you've been a friend to someone, maybe let's say you've been someone's friend for maybe 20 years, but maybe you start your leveling up journey maybe in the 20th year, So the things that bound you together in your friendship, they start losing meaning slowly, maybe, and they'll be like, okay, these days maybe unasikia mtu anakuambia unaringa siku hizi ufanye nini, and it's not even that, ni venye tu like we have nothing in common, like even like we have less in common, not actually nothing. You can't have nothing in common.
Okay.
Can you? But I feel like now, like you have less in common as you start your leveling up journey. If they don't grow up, this is sad. But I also feel like sometimes relationships and maybe marriages, spouses outgrow their partners.
But you're married, Sabi. Where are you going?
There are people who have divorced because they felt, I don't know, it's bad that you're saying celebrities, but
yeah.
There's this celebrity, okay, she said that she got to a point where she realized that she had outgrown her husband.
It happened.
So leveling up, I think it's risky to start growing and leaving your spouse behind. I think when you are leveling up, you should carry your spouse along.
What if they don't want to be carried?
No, that's a good question.
What if they don't want to be carried? What if they're okay, they're comfortable with the space that they're in?
Now you see
and you're like, no, we need to do more. We need to do more. And they're like, no, we're okay.
Yeah. So you see the problem with that is now you'll be disagreeing a lot. There'll be so much discomfort. So. And this discomfort will make you so uncomfortable, and like you feel like this ain't it. Actually, when you listen to people like divorce stories, and you listen to why they got divorced, sometimes it's something so small. Like it's something so silly and it's something so small. You're like, but that was so small you could just
compromise.
But to them, it was extremely huge, depending on where they were emotionally in that moment, you see. So leveling up is very important, but at the same time, we should know that all these challenges, not many people will applaud you for leveling up. The people who will, be like, okay, the people who will say that just because you're different. The people who will see the difference, and maybe they will applaud you because they know who you are, and they can see your potential, and they feel like, okay, if you work on this, I feel like you can get here. You see, so it is important. And leveling up, I feel like it doesn't have a timeline. It doesn't have an end. It doesn't have a timeline. Like you can't say, okay, I'm 40, I don't need to level up. No, you can start today.
Exactly.
and be better.
And you see, what you're saying is very important, because if you do not challenge yourself, and you don't challenge yourself in the sense that, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing as you, as a person, Tabby is? What are you doing? Are you reading? You know, are you going out and seeing what other people are doing that is in line to your goal? Because you know, you have that goal that you want. This is where I want to be. So if I want to be at point B, you know, if I want to be the best at the game, how are there other ones who have been the best at the game? What are they doing?
What are they doing?
What are they doing?
And what are they not doing?
And what are they not doing? And how can I do it differently for me to reach there, to be on top of the game? But once you're comfortable, you're sitting down, then again,
you can't level up by just wishing that I could be.
I can,
you know,
I can be.
I want to be the next Dangote by wishing. That's not possible, man. Like,
by wishing, you don't even have ideas on how you can make money.
You are not even looking. You are not looking at his life, and you know, and finding out like, how did he move from this point to this? How did he handle his challenges? What is he doing currently? What, you know, all these things. Because if you want to be like someone, obviously, it's not about, you know, copying. Because sometimes you can copy someone but not end up. But just get inspired and learn. Just learn something.
Exactly.
And also put yourself in spaces that challenge you. You know, after you have grown, it's okay to spend more and just be in a space that challenge you, Tracy. Like, see, okay, Tracy anapenda kuniambia, Tabi, who wendi kibanda ski. Listen.
First of all, no. Context, Tabi, context.
First of
all, that is you have to say context to it.
What's the context? Like, for me, I just don't.
It is basically you do not go out. You are indoors. You want just to be indoors. But how will people interact with you if you just indoors?
That's what I'm saying. Actually, I think so in this level
was a context.
What did you say?
Your story is different. Come on,
it's
let
not
us say me.
Okay, fine. But what I'm trying to say is this: that as I'm leveling up, I'm learning to appreciate the value of experiences.
Yes.
You know, you see, normally, I'd rather pay less and pay less. Even let's just talk about you know where you do your hair. I'm not saying that you run away from your the lady that does your hair,
your salonist?
Your salonist. But you see, like the places you stay, kuna ka kiosk pale kanatengeneza nywele nini, and it's cheaper, yeah. But the experience you get when you are there is much different with the experience you get when you are in your high-end salon. You know, like it opens your eyes to more. You know, there was an option of saving, which I'm not saying you don't save by the way, but experience, like that level, like it's okay to pay for the experience. You know, maybe they'll not make your hair as, of course they'll make your hair good, but the experience is much better. You know, it challenges you to want more, to desire more, you know, even traveling.
And actually see that other people are living.
Because if your mind is enclosed in one environment, but then I thank God for social media. Social media has, and I know people talk about how, you know, how bad it is, how destructive it is, which it is,
to some level,
to some degree, but it also has so many pros, you know, that for me, I've learned so much just, you know, this time, which, and I value more. I value the things, you know, the small things, but right now I've learned to value, you know, experiences.
So yeah, when you talk about the experiences, I tend to think when you look at celebrities out there, they're more of the experiences, going to events and then networking, because your network is your network.
Wow.
So guys, we have had a very wonderful conversation about leveling up. You can comment about it, you know, how have you done it yourself, or can you tell us your journey, share with us your journey to leveling up on the comment section down below. And please share this YouTube channel with your friends, with your family, share it widely. and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next